Hello, thank you for joining us today. We are the teen librarians with our Upper Libraries, bringing you book recommendations for those in seventh grade or in that age range for reading. And we hope you enjoy some of the picks that we brought.
My first recommendation for you, or my recommendation for you today, is The Girl in the White Van by April Henry. You may have heard of April Henry. She has a lot of books out already. She is known for writing thrillers, and this one did not disappoint. I will give one slight warning up front that this book is pretty intense and at various times does take you into the mind of a kidnapper. And so it can be a little bit disturbing and violent at times. But if you like a good thriller, this one kept me on the edge of my seat through almost the entire thing. The story follows Savannah, who has just moved to a new town with her mom. And unbeknownst to her, she has been being stalked by a man who you only ever know in the book as Sir. And she doesn't realize that he has been following her when she goes to and from school and from her other classes. And the story starts off when Sir kidnaps Savannah as she is leaving her kung fu class one evening. And after a big fight, she is knocked out. He tases her. She's knocked out, and she wakes up in a big motorhome. And in the motorhome, there's another girl who has been kidnapped by Sir and has been captive for almost a year at this point. And so the story follows the two of them as they are trying to figure out how to break out, how to escape, and get to freedom before something terrible happens, because it seems like Sir might be planning to murder them. This is a story that jumps every chapter is from a different character's perspective. So you get to get inside the head of the serial killer, you get to get inside the head of the girls who have been kidnapped, and into the perspective of the characters who are trying to help rescue them. I highly recommend it if you like edge of your seat thrillers.
This is a graphic novel, The Avant Gardes, that I want to talk about. And I really loved this. If you're looking for something light and sweet and funny, this is a great choice. The art is wonderful. And it's about Charlie. And she is starting her first year. She's a freshman in college. And it's her first year at this school. And she's picked sort of an artsy school, a very arty school. They don't have any sports teams, or they haven't in the past. And on her first day signing up for school, she discovers that there's a group of students who have decided to start a sports team, specifically basketball. And they are kind of trying to recruit her, see if she'd like to play on the team. And they're going to play in a league with several other kind of arty schools in the area. So they'll all be starting new. Nobody's going to have an established sports team. This one is a really good choice if you like kind of real life, true life type stories, but just a little bit more entertaining than real life. Charlie is really funny. The students on the team are delightful. And there's a little bit of romance. Charlie maybe might be into one of the other teammates. There's also plenty of kind of basketball shenanigans. So if you want that entertaining, funny, light, great art, this is a good choice. It's the first in a series, and so there's more to come if you enjoy it.
Sky Hunter is the latest book by Marie Lu. So she's the author of Legend and many other amazing works. But this is her latest, and it's another amazing world building fantasy. And the main character is Talon. And Talon is a refugee that is living in Mara. And ever since the Karasaw Federation, they've been taking over different countries. Mara is the last free nation. And Talon is going to do everything that she can to help protect that, because the Federation really has taken her voice in her home. She was very traumatized by her experience with them taking over her country. And so now that she is in Mara, they have this group called the Strikers, which is essentially their army that is kind of keeping the Federation at bay and keeping Mara free. And during one attack in particular, there's this person that they have captured from the Federation, one of the fighters. His name's Redlin. And Talon's very interested in Redlin. She sees that he has great potential for possibly sharing the differences in their army, because they seem different. They seem more zombie-esque. They are hard to kill. They have different things that come out of them, like wings and different knives and different things that kind of transform them into different almost creatures, but they look very human until you get close enough to them. And so she does get permission to kind of keep Redlin. She's in charge of him now, and she's trying to figure out how he can be an asset and if he's willing to help and what price like it is to pay for that assistance. It is a fantastic story of fighting for that freedom sticking up against the Federation, but also kind of finding yourself. Like she doesn't know that she belongs there. And Mara, she definitely feels like an outsider. They make her feel like an outsider, but she also has this great ability to fight, and so they're very grateful for that as well. So there's this fine line that she is feeling between belonging here, belonging in Mara, and actually belonging. So if you're interested in one of those twisty kind of, there is a lot about the battles and tensions like that, but also friendship she's starting to form as she's becoming more in the town and knowing more people. It's a fantastic story. I'm super excited. It's the first in a series, and I can't wait to see what happens next for Talon. So that is Sky Hunter.
Black Brother by Joel Parker Rhodes is one of my favorite realistic fiction books that I've read recently. If you like books that are very much feel like they're about current events that could have been pulled from the headlines, I highly recommend this one. It is a story of Dante and Trey, who are the two brothers that you see on the cover. They are biracial. They have a Black mother and white father, and they have had very different experiences growing up. Dante is much darker skinned, and as such, he has been racially profiled frequently throughout his life. And he and Trey, he is seen as the troublemaker, and Trey is seen as the good brother. And people are constantly asking Dante why he can't be more like Trey. As you might imagine, that is a little bit trying after a while. He gets a little annoyed anytime someone asks. And the story starts off when Dante is brought to the principal's office. He has been accused of pulling a prank that he didn't do. And he's kind of had it because he's often accused of these sorts of things when he is innocent. And so he blows up at the principal, and they call the police on him, and he is sent to jail for something a crime he didn't commit. Wasn't even really a crime. And he has to spend some time there. And from this experience, he decides that he is going to channel his anger into a new outlet, and he takes up fencing. He goes to the local Boys and Girls Club and meets there a former Olympic fencer from the US team, and convinces him to teach Dante how to start fencing, the techniques that are needed. And he's decided that this is going to be the way that he gets his revenge on the school bully who has been pulling a lot of these pranks and accusing Dante. It's a really great story if you like sports. There's a lot of fencing details in it. Or if you're looking for something a bit more realistic, I highly recommend Black Brother.
The book I want to talk about now is a good choice if you don't mind gore or scary things. This is by Mira Grant, and I love Mira Grant. She writes stuff that's both for a teen audience and an adult audience, and she tends to write like monster creature feature stuff. So zombies, killer mermaids, in this case, killer aliens. And this one is great. It's a really big page turner. It's kind of a thriller, a mystery, a horror story all together. But the heads up on this is it gets really gory. There's a lot of alien dismemberment and terrible things happening to people. And there is some profanity as things escalate and get more dangerous. People start to swear more. So know that. If those aren't things you are comfortable with, this is probably not a good choice. But if you are curious about it, it stars two sisters. They're twins, Olivia and Viola, whose parents are xenobiologists, which means they study aliens. So they travel all over the galaxy, and they're currently on this planet where there's a small colony of people. And one day, the sisters decide to have a group of teens over, like to visit one day when their parents are busy, sort of like a mini party. And on that day, they discover a few things. One, that one of the sisters, Viola, has had kind of health issues her whole life. The doctors have never been able to diagnose. There's something going on, but no one knows what it is. She has trouble breathing. She can't walk very well. So she goes to school virtually, and Olivia goes to school in person. And it turns out when the students come up, that they discovered that some of the students thought Viola didn't exist, which is kind of mysterious. Like, what was going on? So there's a little bit of mystery going on there. But while they're all hanging out, their dad sends sort of a video message that kind of comes up in the middle of the party, where it's clear that he has recorded this earlier and it was destined for their mom's phone. Who's supposed to be seeing it, and something has gone very wrong. He was up on a salvage ship, like up in space, and it's clear in this recording, like he is all beat up and bloody. There's stuff all a mess behind him, and he is basically saying to, in theory, their mom, something's gone very wrong. Aliens are coming, get the girls and like run. And then something streaks across the screen, like takes him out. The video cuts out, and it looks like he maybe didn't survive. So this instigates some panic among these teenagers. They like run out of the house, and from this point on in the story, it becomes this sort of survival epic because these aliens, these creatures, are hunting down all the humans on this planet. And it is the survival story of the twin sisters. It's really good. It is tied to the Alien cinematic universe, if you're familiar with that. If you're not, it doesn't matter. There's no character overlap. It's the same aliens. So whether you like that or not is probably irrelevant to whether or not you like this book. And I do recommend it if you like those creature horror stories. This one's really well done.
Anna on the Edge is a really good realistic story if you're interested in one like that, especially if you like figure skating, because Anna is a US juvenile figure skating champion. And for her routine, she's not really interested in the typical showy kind of uniforms or outfits that are worn. And so when she hears the announcement that the next competition's theme is princess, Anna is less than thrilled, but she doesn't want to let her mom down because figure skating tends to be rather expensive. And she's aware of this and wants to make sure she makes the most of the money that is being spent on her for figure skating. And so while she's trying to put together a routine that will both impress the judges, but also won't make her feel too uncomfortable in what she's wearing, she meets Hayden. And Hayden is new to the rink. He's just starting out, kind of figuring out in town and in the ice rink on how ice time works and all of that. And since Anna's there all the time, it's kind of a perfect fit. But Hayden walks in when she's practicing and is blown away by how good she is, but also mistakes Anna for a boy. And that makes Anna really think about herself because she's okay with the fact that she was mistaken for a boy. And she's been kind of struggling with gender identity and learning more about that for herself as well. So as Hayden and her friendship grows, competition day is coming closer as well. It's really getting hard for Anna to feel like herself. She's kind of torn between these two sides. So find out how Anna kind of goes through her struggles on and off the ice. I really like the friendship that grows between her and Hayden. They learn a lot about each other, both through cooking. They have different cultural backgrounds in their cooking expertise and kind of are introducing each other to their favorite dishes. So it's a really cool story about that as well. And the way that the ice skating is presented is awesome. The author is also a champion from when they were younger as well. So you get a real feel for what it's like for how many practices and all the routines of a figure skater in that as well. But it doesn't really bog down the story. It's in addition to this friendship piece as well. And I really liked Anna. She's a very strong character with a really sweet personality. So we are so glad that you were able to join us. Hopefully you found something to add to your to read list, and you can get these titles at arapahoelibraries.org. So we hope to see you soon. Hope you found something you like. Have a good day.
Bye.